Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us today for the Fight for Your Imposter workshop with Hannah Bloking and Allison Makalik. My name's Danielle Blades. I'm an Agile Program Manager at Consensus. I've been here for about a year. This is my first DEMOFEST, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. DEMOFEST is presented to you by Consensus. Transform how you sell with Consensus, the first ever product experience platform. Automate demos, drive faster decisions, and accelerate growth. You can learn more at goconsensus.com or click Watch a Demo at the top of your screen. We highly encourage you to participate in today's session. You can find a few ways to engage with us on the right side of your console. The chat function will allow you to connect with us as well as other attendees. We invite you to participate in the polls throughout the session, and you'll find some helpful resources in the Docs tab. Finally, your speakers will answer any questions at the end of the session, so please ask them at any time using the Q&A box. If at any time you're having technical difficulties, head to the gear at the bottom of your screen. This is where you'll see a help document to troubleshoot common issues. And now I'd like to introduce you to our speakers, Hannah Bloking and Allison Makalik. Hannah is the Principal Product Manager at Amazon Q Business at Amazon Web Services. She's a tenured technical leader with a proven record of defining, measuring, and delivering strategic business outcomes. Hannah is also the co-founder of 4 Under 3, whose mission is to amplify the power of human intelligence through workshops, storytelling, and shared experiences. Allison is a seasoned leader with over a decade of experience in the pre-sales and solution engineering field. She founded the WISE chapter at salesforce.org, coaches with the Pre-Sales Collective, and co-created 4 Under 3, where she co-hosts the Imposter Talks podcast and facilitates Fight Your Imposter workshops for ERGs worldwide. Guided by her core values of fairness and vulnerability, Allison brings this ethos to her role as Director of Solutions at Ontic, inspiring others through her work and leadership. And again, thank you for being here today. And with that, I'll turn over the rest of our time to Allison and Hannah. Welcome.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Let's go ahead and get this shared, and we're going to jump in. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We're good.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's noon here, so thank you for spending your lunch hour with us. We are so excited to bring our Fight Your Imposter workshop to DEMOFEST 2025. And with that, Hannah, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to do a quick introduction, then we're going to lay some ground rules and some housekeeping, and then we're going to talk about what is imposter syndrome or phenomenon. Why are you here, right? We're going to dive in, and then we're going to talk about who it affects, and then we're going to end with some tips and tricks, some actionable things that you can do to start combating your own imposter.
All right. So we don't have that many rules today, but we have one really important rule that we need to make sure everybody remembers. This is a very safe space. So the whole idea of this session is that we want you to feel like you can talk about these vulnerable feelings that you have. We're going to get really vulnerable, so please don't leave us hanging. So it's a very safe space, so please be very respectful. I know everyone will. This is a great group that we have today.
Awesome. So really quick, how do you engage? We're all in this amazing gold cast situation. Please chat, keep the conversation lively. We're going to be doing a lot of polls throughout to keep you engaged. We're going to be doing 7, so please participate in the polls. And there's also a fun emoji reaction in the chat, so bring on the emojis. We're here for it.
I am already loving all of the engagement. What a great group. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how this workshop and how 4 Under 3 came to be. I let you know very early on that Allison and I were going to get very vulnerable. We're just like coming right out at you. So first of all, Allison and I are just very, very passionate about this topic. And independently, we were leading these sessions and discussions about imposter syndrome for teams that we have been on for many, many years and throughout a few different organizations that we've both been a part of. But when we realized we had this common interest in helping people and we had this shared experience with imposter syndrome, we joined forces to develop this workshop together. This was now several years ago. So our personal relationships with imposter syndrome and our understanding of it's really evolved as we've led dozens of these workshops and we've talked to professionals around the world. And it's really just organically developed into this. We think it's a very beautiful thing. Hopefully you will as well. And what we're able to do is just facilitate this discussion now for an increasingly broader and more diverse audience. And we truly learn something new every single time.
That is so true. We're really excited to bring our Fight Your Imposter workshop to DEMOFEST. And to Hannah's point, we really do learn something every single time. We learn from you. We learn from the chat. We learn from our panelists. And it's a great reminder for me. So sometimes when I feel like this awkward, beautiful 6th grade girl in this picture, I had braces, I was a foot taller than everyone, I really will go back to the principles and the actions that we teach in this workshop to help me overcome my own imposter every single day.
I'm actually pretty jealous because I'm still a foot shorter than everybody in my adult life. But the reason why we're showing these pictures is because a resounding theme that we have about imposter syndrome is that it really tends to creep up when you step into a new challenge, whether that's professionally, whether that's personally. So as Allison mentioned, when this happens, we're kind of brought back to this time in our lives where we're really, really, really awkward and really vulnerable. So for me, in my picture up at the top left there, that's around my 13th birthday. I think I was singing karaoke in my bedroom. And actually, I know what I was singing. I was singing All Star by Smash Mouth, if anybody here remembers that song. And it'll be permanently imprinted in my brain because I have the L on the shape of my forehead. So hopefully some people remember that song. And you'll also see in the background, I have lots of stuffed animals and other like beaded curtains and things like that. So it's really cool.
Very cool. I'd want to be your friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But we'll talk a little bit about, some people remember the song, so excited. Talk a little bit about adult Hannah. So awesome intro in the beginning, but just a little bit about me. So I spent the last 17 years, oh my gosh, in customer facing technical roles, really working for companies ranging from small startup to major enterprise. And the majority of that time has been spent in pre-sales roles, which I know many of you are in. So I really feel like I grew up in this SaaS world and learned so many professional and personal skills in this role. And I really feel like I've lucked out with how I got started. I've met so many amazingly brilliant people like Allison and like this amazing panel that you'll meet very shortly. So just a little bit about us. We met, years ago working for a company at Sprinkler. We were both pre-sales engineers there. Kind of fast forward through a few different roles in a few different years today. I've led solution architect teams here at AWS where I am. I've had the opportunity to work really closely with other go-to-market team members throughout the go-to-market lifecycle. So like everybody in your go-to-market roles, what you do is so important and so much mad respect for all of you out there. Most recently, I've transitioned into a product management role at AWS, also the co-founder of 403 along with Allison.
Yes. And I've been in pre-sales for a decade. That's where I first met Hannah and some of our esteemed panelists you'll see in a second. And I always say pre-sales and solutions is the best job that no one's ever heard about. But fun fact, I thought I was going to spend my career actually in digital strategy, but it's been this really fun, perfect blend of kind of being a ham and loving to present and loving strategy and bringing that perspective to the world of pre-sales. I was at Salesforce for actually 5 years, and I made the jump to startup life again here at Ontic, where I'm the director of solutions. And fun fact, we're actually onboarding Consensus at my company right now as we speak. So it's like full circle moment right now. My side passion is bringing these imposter workshops to life for all sorts of people through 4 Under 3, whether that's our workshop, whether that's doing our podcast that we have. So really, we just learned that no matter their title, their time and role, everyone experiences feeling like an imposter, which you'll soon discover. And it's such a fun ride and honor to help all of you amazing professionals here today fight this common phenomenon. And that's why we do what we do. So.
All right. Okay, so I said there was one rule that you had to remember: be respectful, be vulnerable, be safe. There's one thing that you have to remember, though, throughout this entire presentation. And everyone, you can say it together. I know I can't hear you, but I know you're saying it with me. You are not alone. And we're going to try to start and prove it to you in maybe the lowest risk way possible. Okay, so let's go to the first thing. Let's prove that we're not alone. So I'm gonna put a poll up. Make sure I could do this. Oh, okay. Should all see a poll? Yes. Okay. Yes or no? If you've ever received a compliment and you've attributed it to factors other than your own strengths, such as luck or increased effort by other people, yes or no? Hopefully everybody's voting.
Hannah, do you want me to give an example?
Oh my gosh, give a good example.
So here's something that I've done, and maybe you've done it too. You put in days of work on delivering this amazing presentation, and that you owned pretty much from start to finish. And the team starts sending emails about, you're a rock star, but I reply with, it was a team effort. They're so nice and wonderful.
Okay, lots of yeses. Okay, everyone hears that. Okay, let's go ahead and close that one. Okay, perfect. Everyone, thank you for playing along. All right, let's try again. Okay, one more. All right.
Goal number two. Yeah. If you haven't voiced your real opinions or you've hid when you're struggling.
Okay, well, everybody's putting in their comments. I will provide an example this time. So you're all in these highly collaborative, high visibility, ambiguous go-to-market roles, many of us, right? You have to work with a lot of really, really smart people. So maybe you're in planning meetings where you know what the right thing to do is, but you're having a really hard time speaking up. Can anybody relate to that? Okay, lots of yeses. I see some yeses in all caps.
I can't see the poll results, so I'm trusting.
We're getting, yes, I think we're hitting a chord with people.
Okay. Now we know how to do polls, so we're going to do one more. If you have avoided letting on that you don't know how to do something or agonized over the smallest flaw in your work.
Okay, I'm opening the poll. There we go. Okay, so this one. All right, I want to see people's feedback. This can be really challenging because I know all of us out here, you're at DEMOFEST. We're all really passionate about what we do and about our customers and helping customers achieve really amazing things with our solutions that we support. And oftentimes we're supposed to be the subject matter experts. We're supposed to be the technical experts, and it's really impossible to know everything.
And that's
definitely a yes. Okay. Hand raised. Okay. Yep. All right.
Okay.
Not alone.
Awesome. So now everyone knows how to do polls. We're going to do a couple more throughout, but let's go ahead and talk about what is imposter syndrome and what Hannah and I have learned over the last couple of years, also called imposter phenomenon. So just a quick fun fact, the Google search term for imposter syndrome has increased 550% since 2016. So we know this isn't a new concept, but we've learned that the interest and people are feeling it and wanting to learn. We've also learned, though, it means something very different to different people. What is this? Sorry, I have a FaceTime. I didn't even know it could pull through my computer. Okay, Hannah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I just got so distracted. Sorry, everyone. That was wild. Me technology over here being a grandma. But first, Hannah and I, we're going to walk through this textbook definition for you, literally from the dictionary. But then you'll hear what it means to real people, real professionals like you that we've talked through over the years on our podcast from Imposter Talks. So we're excited to share that with you.
All right. Just to make sure everybody starts from the same place, I think that all of you have probably heard of the term imposter syndrome before. So we're going to give you the actual textbook technical definition before we start to hit on some more advanced topics. So imposter syndrome. So it's the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved a result of one's own efforts or skills.
Okay.
Get a little more interesting now.
Yeah. So again, that's like the actual definition of it. But what we've learned is that it does mean something different to every single person. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a video and you might see some familiar faces. If you do, or if you know these people, go ahead and drop it in the chat. You're probably friends. They might even be on this call. And it's some of our favorite conversations from Imposter Talks podcast throughout the years.
Imposter syndrome just means a lot of things to a lot of people, is what Allison and I have learned over the course of having so many of these conversations. So could you maybe talk a little bit about, like, what does it mean to you? What do you think of when you think of imposter syndrome?
And when I think about imposter syndrome, it's this idea that, everyone around you who's in senior titles, who, are in a certain role, doing a certain job, that they're better than you because they have that title. They have that position. They're at that certain company that has that prestige.
To me, when I didn't even know that a term like this existed, to me, it was this very fake, cynical version of me that lived inside of me. And I equated it to this annoying voice that kept telling me that I'm not good enough, that you're not doing as much as other people are doing. And it was this constant reminder about all the things that I couldn't do in life or I'm not good at. So to me, that imposter was the opposite of what a cheerleader would do. It's something that would keep bringing you down, keep bringing those feelings of you're so diminishing as a person.
Whenever I hear imposter syndrome, I think of the sinking feeling I get in my stomach when I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I am not good enough. All these people are so much better than me. I do not deserve this. I don't deserve this job title. I don't deserve to be in this space. And I think when I hear imposter syndrome, I immediately think panic and that feeling in that pit of your stomach, because it's a visceral reaction when you have that. I think a lot of people can say it, but I think what really differentiates that from just feeling a little bit insecure or a little uncomfortable is that visceral reaction. Like, I do not belong here. I am an imposter.
How I have felt it has been that feeling that when at any point, could be even after you've been doing something for 10 years, where you feel like others around you believe you're not, you don't have the value or you don't have the qualifications to be doing what you're doing right now. And that if only people really knew that I'm not as qualified as they think I am, they're going to kick me out. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to, whatever it might be, even if nothing happens, they'll know that I'm not the qualified person to be here.
I see it as like a mental mind game of like, for me, like my default, and I think this is like a lot of women probably feel this way, but my default is like, oh, I'm not skilled enough for this, or I don't have the qualifications to do this. Imposter syndrome definitely like overtakes me at the first jump of things all the time, because I do mentally convince myself that there's just no way I can do this. I don't have what it takes.
But I think about imposter syndrome, it's more of just like a feeling brought on by, lack of self-confidence or starting something new that you're unfamiliar with. So for me, yeah, it's just more of feeling like a fraud, questioning, what am I doing here? How did I get here to this point? Obviously somebody saw something in me, but you're just doubting yourself. I think it's really rooted in just self-doubt.
Awesome. Okay. Go to the next slide. Okay.
Oh, okay. That actually breaks my heart a little bit watching that video again, because so many amazing people that we talked to, but really, really helpful to always hear a lot of different perspectives. And, I think it's always really helpful to see data points. So studies have shown that 70% of people have experienced feeling like an imposter at least once in their career. Allison and I have been very vulnerable that this has been a learning journey for us as we've had these discussions. And I will be first to admit that I was actually really surprised that this included both women and men. This figure includes both women and men. Shame on me, right? And I really used to think that it only impacted women. So it's been really eye-opening as we've been opening up this discussion to people from all gender identities. And when I think about the number 70%, like there's almost 100 people on this call, right? So think about how many people that is at any given time. That means that many people have experienced imposter syndrome once in their career. And, this number doesn't mean that much until you kind of think about that in context. So it's really been helpful to me, because now when I've started counting the number of attendees in any given meeting that I'm in, whether it's a presentation that I'm giving, or it's just a meeting that's really high visibility, we're doing plannings and discussions and I'm around smart people, I kind of look around and I just kind of have to take in that 70% of them are feeling imposter syndrome or have felt imposter syndrome in their career.
100%. So let's check in with everybody. Poll number 4, if you've qualified statements with this might not be right, but, or this might be a dumb suggestion, but.
I don't think we need to provide an example because I think that one's self-explanatory. Anybody feel that way? Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting some responses. Okay,
even
cool.
when I know I'm right. I know, me too. It's such a bad habit.
Also, Hannah, I can't see, but during the video, did anyone recognize some of our guests who were in our video?
I don't know. Nobody said, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if nobody recognized some of our guests. Oh, yes. Okay, we got some yeses. Okay, just being shy.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about who it affects, right? Well, the spoiler, which you have been paying attention and learning so far, is it's everyone, or, 70% of people. But what about, maybe that other 30%? So, Hannah, who can feel like an imposter?
All right. So we've gotten a lot of feedback that people like to take screenshots of this and print it out and put it on their walls. It's it's all the smart people that you think have their 4-letter word. And this is a family event together. So let's talk a little bit about why that is. And you're all sitting here. You're all highly skilled people. And the thing about highly skilled people is that they assume that other people are just as highly skilled as them. So what happens is this can lead to anxiety and self-doubt when you think about how you're going to approach problems. And then this is further exacerbated by the fact that we as humans, as professionals, are conditioned to kind of just doubt ourselves in private and not openly discuss our personal and professional challenges. So we're really not having this conversation. And because of this, we don't know how our colleagues perceive the level of difficulty for the same tasks that we have to complete. So think about this. Just because you see your awesome rock star colleagues doing something and it made it look easy, it doesn't mean that it was. And this can be related to both your professional and personal life. So I'll try to provide an example. So Allison, you're a director of solutions at Ontic. That's impressive. You've done so many presentations in your career. How many presentations do you think you've done in your career?
Oh my gosh, 500, 1,000. Maybe.
1,000. Okay. And then how often do you still get nervous?
Every week, every single week. I was presenting just last week in person, and I realized I've been doing a lot of virtual, and I was rusty in person, and I was sweating. Woo, I was so nervous.
Okay. And you're also balancing being a mom of two kids under 5 with your job. How often do you question yourself about this?
Every day, every single day. It's not like it goes away. It's every day. It's like a fluid feeling for sure.
Yep.
What about you?
I feel like an imposter right now leading an imposter syndrome workshop.
Great. We're doing it. Hey, we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Okay.
We're doing it anyway.
Well, maybe there are some folks on here who are thinking, maybe not me, right? I don't know about this. We've actually had people on Imposter Talks who've said, I don't have imposter syndrome. I don't feel like an imposter. Well, what we've learned over time is that imposter feelings can actually be really sneaky. So what we have learned is it can actually show up in different names. So maybe you're not identifying with imposter, but you are a perfectionist. You have high standards. You have self-doubt when things aren't perfect. You're afraid of failure. But since perfection is impossible, these feelings create this never-ending cycle of hard work and dissatisfaction. Or maybe you're a natural genius. You were a GT kid. Way to go. Maybe you only focus on how things are done. And if you can't do it right away, you feel like a fake and you learn new things quickly but lack perseverance. Or you're a soloist. You believe a goal is only worth pursuing if you can achieve it by yourself because you can do it the best. You don't ask for help, even when a project is going wrong. Even when you encounter troubles, you put things off so you don't have to admit defeat. Or you're an expert, right? Kind of like a natural genius. You are knowledge perfectionists. They want every single thing to know about every single thing, and they will not consider a job done if it doesn't meet all the requirements. Experts worry about seeming inexperienced or uninformed. Or maybe you're a superwoman or a superman. You have unreal expectations, and like perfectionists, you believe it's all or nothing. You do not ask for help. That's me sometimes. They define competence as flawless performance in any role or situation. So did you recognize these as any of these types? If so, you might also be feeling your imposter. And again, there's no cure, like we said. It's really just understanding how it manifests in you so you can have an idea for how to start combating it.
Oh my gosh. So we're getting some engagement. So one of our amazing attendees said, if it's helpful, I have felt this way throughout my entire career. So bad news, been a CEO for decades, and still true. And then some other feedback, good news for the rest of us. Totally. And I think related. So Allison mentioned that and you saw this, one of the things that Allison and I do is we host Imposter Talks, where we interview a diverse, fabulous guests in each episode. And we really just talk about their experiences with imposter syndrome. And one really interesting thing that we've learned from hosting people from all different backgrounds and places in their professional careers, whether they're just starting out or a CEO, is many lately are saying that they don't have imposter syndrome, and they identify it more as imposter phenomenon. So in other words, and I think this is really important, it's not happening because of them, it's happening to them, especially those who we've spoken to who are from underrepresented backgrounds. So if we take a step back and look at what this means to feel like an imposter, there's obviously so many different ways it can manifest. Allison just walked through some common types that we hear about. But like we'll talk about in this workshop, the most important thing we do is we talk about it so that there's awareness no matter what your relationship is with the term.
Yes, and that is what we're here to do. Chat about it and let us know in a poll. So one more poll. If you feel like you should be able to do everything yourself, no questions asked. That's leaning into that superwoman.
Anybody feel that way? The soloist?
Oh yeah.
I definitely struggle. I definitely struggle with that. Sometimes, yep. Now you're calling me out too often. Yep. Feel that. Okay. Yep. All right. So we talked about how this impacts everybody. Let's get a little specific. Let's start with somebody we probably all know and probably most of us love, Beyonce. Be honest, anybody love any B fans out there? Yes. Okay. So I was actually really shocked when I heard about Beyonce. She has this alter ego, which I had heard about, but I didn't understand why she had this alter ego of Sasha Fierce. And she talked about in a documentary that I saw that the reason she has this alter ego is because it's how she copes with being vulnerable and taking these risks in really huge crowds. And I remember feeling baffled when she talked about this because she's just this like amazingly talented, confident superstar pop icon. So I think that's always really important, like to remember that Beyonce also has imposter syndrome. And then once when I presented this, I just wanted to acknowledge some feedback that I got, that they were like, wow, that's really cool. But they actually really hated the saying, you have as many hours in a day as you have as Beyonce. And this really resonated with me because it kind of diminishes the fact that not everybody's circumstances are ideal as pop icons. And this struck me because I think it's an important call out that when your imposter voice starts pointing out your flaws to compare yourself to your peers or even to your leaders, it's like comparison is the thief of joy. And in fact, this resonates with me even more now that I have these young kids. I also have 2 kids under 5, and that creates a very specific set of circumstances for me that my peers and leaders may not have, or may have older kids. And so Allison, let's talk about some other high profile people.
Yeah, it's becoming so common, y'all. Like we're hearing about it in the media and on LinkedIn almost every day. But just recently, Justin Bieber came out and told her he really feels his imposter. And even Aveen Lou Wood on White Lotus, she's been very open and talking about it too. So we understand, right? These are celebrities. However, as you have guessed from the workshop, everyone can experience it. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to have our own local celebrity panel. And we have invited some of our very best friends throughout our careers. A lot of us know each other and work together. And we wanted them to come on, and they're going to be coming on stage here for what we call our local celebrity panel of the workshop. So, yeah. Is everyone on? I can't see.
They are.
Okay. Yep. So what we've done is we've asked our panelists to send us a picture that represents a moment in time where they either felt unsure or super confident. We've selected these panelists because not only are they amazing and they're inspiring and they're kind, they also happen to be very close friends with us. Some of these people we've been friends with for over 10 years, and each of these individuals has played a huge role, I'm gonna get emotional, in our journey, and we've known them for a very long time. We're very lucky that they're here today. So that's another reason this profession is so amazing, where we are today. It's the individuals that you meet along the way. Talk about being vulnerable. Oh, got a little verklempt over here. Okay, I'm really excited. So the first person that we're going to introduce you to is Trevor Bissell. He is a senior group director with me here at OnTick. And Trevor, you're first up. Tell us about yourself and how this picture right here helps you combat your own imposter.
Thank you, Allison and Hannah. Nice to chat with you all here. It's been an interesting discussion because I always feel like I'm the only person who has imposter syndrome. And of course, meeting the two of you has helped me to know that it's not true. I chose this picture. It is the first standing ovation I received for my first modern production. I was a theater major since school, and I found that the poetry of classical theater was a safety net for me. So I never wanted to do modern theater because I could be seen, because I couldn't hide behind the words. And so I worked with a director on a classical Greek piece, and she said, I'm doing a play, and it's modern, but I think you might be the right person for it. And I thought she was wrong, of course, but I rehearsed, and then this was opening night, standing ovation. But I thought it was interesting to send to Allison because it also was a moment where, because I was receiving that standing ovation, I didn't think I deserved it. So I immediately turned to the tech crew, and that's me gesturing to the light booth and the sound booth to try to defer the, praise we were receiving. But I don't know, this picture, I think it means a lot because I leaned in to try to fight my imposter. I delivered, but then I still doubted, right? So, yeah.
Oh, thank you for being so vulnerable. So, Trevor, are you going to act anymore? You obviously have this natural talent.
Oh, I mean, I've been acting for 37 years, so I will tread the boards again at some point. My kids are both grown and gone, so I have some bucket list roles. I still need to play Lear at some point, but yes, absolutely. And I'm also in the profession we've all chosen, so I'm on stage every day.
Yeah,
For sure.
and everyone, clients, everyone alike loves working with you because you are so vulnerable. So thank you for sharing. We really appreciate it. And if you do King Lear, let us know. We'll send an email out to DEMOFEST so everyone can see you.
Will do.
Okay, Hannah.
All right. So who do we have up next? We've got Christy Fitzgerald. Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this. I love it. Love what you and Allison are doing. And by way of a quick introduction, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Christy Fitzgerald, and I'm joining you today from Dallas, Texas, where I have had the privilege of building my career in the SaaS technology space over the last 15 years. And 10 of that has been focused on the pre-sales function specifically. In fact, fun story, my first ever SC role back in the day, it was Allison here who was set up as my peer mentor. And I could not have asked for a better partner to show me kind of the ropes and help me establish the foundational skills that helped me become a really successful SC, but also now as an SC leader, we're on our journey together, which is great. And still friends and peers to this day, which I love. And today I actually lead a strategic enterprise or a group of SCs who cover strategic enterprise and mid-market sales across central and western regions for a company called MoveWorks AI, which is an agentic reasoning AI assistant that reshapes how employees use AI to get work done, which is very fun. Feel free to ask me about it anytime. But yeah, so that's me. Fun story on this picture. In particular, this picture was taken at CCW in Las Vegas, which Hannah, we ran into each other at this event multiple times as well. For those of you who aren't familiar, Customer Contact Week is like one of the largest CX events for contact center leaders in the country. And one of the things that they do that I absolutely love participating in is an event called Contact Center Women's event. And it is a community for women and allies that really celebrates women in the industry. It facilitates networking. And for the first time, I had been a participant many years, but for the first time, I was asked to also do a panel as part of CC Women's Week. And so in this picture, this is right after we finished a panel. And the topic of that year was, quote, existing loudly. And you guys are going to love this. The panel topic. So that was the event topic. The panel topic was women in power sharing their habits for existing loudly. And let me just tell you, I had the biggest imposter syndrome when taking the stage that day, because here I was alongside these incredible women. This is Madison Rigazone, who was the VP of AI growth strategies and business operations at Amelia AI. And next to her was Amina Vishempet, who was the head of Gen AI and solutions and go-to-market at Google, and Fabiola Stemling, who was a VP of CX at Northwestern Mutual. And so in this moment, I was thinking, why did they include me in this panel? Like, what value can I bring to this discussion? I'm just some girl from Texas who works in SaaS technology sales. Like, even my internal dialogue was so diminishing in that imposter moment. I think no one would have had any idea if they, other than being in my head, they probably wouldn't have known from outward appearance that, I wasn't full of confidence, the way that I addressed the room. There were hundreds of women in this event, but I knew. So instead, what I hope I would have been thinking, if I were looking back, I should have been thinking, you know what, I am a CX technology professional. I've worked with some of the largest brands in the US to help them embrace CX technology and AI and help them on their own CX journeys. That's the talk I should have been having with myself. Instead, my internal dialogue was very like, oh no, why am I here? What can I do? So.
Oh, Christy, this is so good. And this is going to really bleed into one of our takeaway tips that we're going to come up against next. Thank you so much, Christy. And also, you're anything but. You're so awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Christy, I remember when you presented this approach to a customer storytelling back in 2015, and I was like, what? We can do that? Mind-blowing that you could ever feel like that, because for me, you're like, oh my gosh, it's Christy. So I'm glad that moving forward, you have your internal affirmations that you'll be able to do. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Gretchen Fitzgibbons. I also call her G. She's a senior manager, large enterprise solutions engineering at Smartsheet. And she's also one of my very dear friends. So Gretchen, come on and tell us about this photo and how this picture helped you combat your own imposter syndrome.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be here. And again, this is the first time in probably a decade that I think Hannah, Allison, and Christy and I, who all had worked with each other at one point, are back on the same panel. So very exciting. I know we're turning around quick, so I'll give you a quick introduction. I've had a kind of interesting career. I was in crisis PR. I was in tech communications. I was in digital strategy before, like Allison, actually on the same day. I stumbled into solution engineering and have never looked back. So I've been in the industry for just over 10 years. I've had the privilege of managing teams in different settings, but have really sort of settled in managing a large enterprise team for global accounts at Smartsheet. And what we do basically is we do collaborative work management. So I joke, we are where you get things done. And I've been very fortunate to get to work with these amazing folks here and meet all of you on the panel. This particular photo is of my family when we had just moved back to Chicago during the pandemic. And I was working from home with no help, and I have no family around. And I was trying to pretend that everything was fine and help other people get everything figured out and figure out my own job that was continually evolving and having kids in the room. And I just felt like a complete and utter imposter, and that I should be just making it all work, even though nobody should really be making any of that work. So looking back on that, even though in the picture we're very smiley, I remember thinking, even in this photo, are we getting this right? What am I going to do later? How is Monday going to work out? So I think it's interesting always to reflect on where you are at chapters of your life. And something I've been practicing recently that's, I think, comes back to this photo is how would past you and future you talk about you, and try to bring all those people into a room together and remember you're on the same team. So it's really interesting hearing the other stories and looking fondly now at that picture, but also thinking about that little voice at the back of your head that sometimes just needs to be told to be quiet. So again, I'm very honored to be here, and this is such a delight to see everyone.
Oh, I love that so much. Gretchen, whenever I talk on panels or different things, I talk about you pretty much every time, because whenever we started at Sprinkler, someone asked me, and you, I think, if we were going to be demoing every day. And I said, oh, I don't do that. And they said, what do you think you do here? I was like, I don't know.
Allison was great. She got me feeling much less like an imposter because the day we were sitting next to each other, she leans over, she goes, hey, do you know what SEs do? And I go, absolutely not. And so we ended up basically bonding over that to help each other figure it out. And that's something I'm thankful for every single day.
I have another Gretchen imposter syndrome story because I remember you had to certify me in one of the modules when I was onboarding at Sprinkler. And I remember being so incredibly nervous to demo in front of you because I knew that you were so good. So I don't know if I ever told you that, but you made me very, very nervous. And look at this, years later, all friends.
All friends. It was just our imposters.
It's just our imposters. Wow. Okay. Well, speaking of, so thank you so much, Gretchen. You're amazing. On to our last amazing panelist, Wayne Brown, a senior global partner technical manager at Splunk. Like going a million years back. Was it a million, Wayne, or maybe like 15?
Yeah, I think it was close to 13 years at least.
13 or so years ago. I always joke that I met Wayne when I was a baby sales engineer at Oracle, and we've been friends, and he's been a mentor to me over millions of years. So Wayne, I think everybody should hear your story. So tell us a little bit about your picture and how this helps you combat imposter syndrome.
First off, thank you for having me on this. It's great. It's an honor to be with everyone on here today. For those who I may not have met before, my name is Wayne Brown. I'm a global partner technical manager at Splunk, which is part of Cisco. I manage the technical relationship between Splunk and Microsoft. And if I were to introduce myself, I would always say that I'm a recovering software engineer that stumbled into pre-sales about 13 years ago. And it's been quite a wild ride ever since. And when I look at this picture, it's really hard to describe because with some of the things that I've done in the past, very performance based. In a past life of mine, I was a college and professional cheerleader. So I understood having to perform. I understood having to be in front of, tens of thousands of people and, be up there and be on your best. And as you're going through all of this, you're going, how the heck do I belong here? Why do I belong here? And this is kind of the culmination of realizing in this time, this was taking at Cisco Live in Amsterdam in 2024. And this was kind of the acknowledgement for me of, yes, I do belong here finally. And, this was, still my performance, persona that was in place. But getting to that point, it's been wild. You mentioned earlier about the perfectionist, the soloist, and I'm going in the back of my mind, why are you calling me out publicly like this? Because it's hitting every single check mark, that I have felt and that I've experienced. And, it's taken me a long time to realize that we're not the only ones that, are dealing with imposter syndrome, imposter phenomenon. It's, no matter how much I am going, this is, nobody else is dealing with this. This is very unique to me. It's not the case. We all deal with it in some form or fashion. So it may be, there's different degrees of it, but the big thing that I want to convey is, you're not alone in this. Number one, you belong. There's a reason that you were picked to be in the spot that you're in, to do the things that you're doing, and to be a part of the organizations that you're a part of. And yeah, I still have to keep telling myself this every day. I've had to deal with this ever since I've been in my pre-sales career. In fact, it got so bad at one point in time that, when I was in my first role at Cisco as a demo engineer, that every week when I would meet with my manager, it's like, okay, am I doing everything that needs to be done? Like, I was so lacking in confidence that, finally at a point in time, my managers had to go, shut up, you're doing fine. If there's a problem, we'll tell you, but you're doing everything that we need you to do. And it's a struggle. It's really hard, to reinforce with yourself that you're doing that good job. You're doing the things that need to happen, and you don't have to do this alone. You are there. You are, 100% worthy of being in the role that you're in. And again, there's a reason that you were put in the spot that you're in.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that you belong. I think we forget, like maybe we don't belong, and it's like, no, you do. You're here. So thank you, Wayne, for sharing. Quick fun fact. Trevor and Wayne have both been on Imposter Talks, and their episodes are incredible if you want to go back and find them. And Christy and Gretchen will have to have you on too.
Oh, absolutely. And definitely seeing some feedback that the experiences hit home. Yes, me too. I feel like I keep welling up talking about these things. So yeah, such a great panel. We were so lucky to have all of you.
Yeah, I've never gotten teary-eyed introducing a panel before. That's how much you all mean to me. So thank you so much.
Trip down memory lane in our own imposter syndrome experiences as we've grown up.
Talk about being vulnerable. Here we go.
Okay. We told everyone. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, local celebrity panel. Mwah.
Okay, now, all right, we're gonna wrap it up. Oof, gosh, it's gonna be hard to kind of follow that group of panelists, but we wanted to talk a little bit about how does feeling like an imposter affect my role. So we want to start getting a little more specific because we know we have a little bit of a range of different go-to-market professionals out there, and we all have really unique roles. And a lot of times, like we mentioned earlier, your role is to come in and be a subject matter expert, whether that's on the technology or a domain space, or it's to be simply somebody who needs to show up and perform. We've heard from a lot of performers. Really funny, like the more Allison and I talk to people through Imposter Talks or through these workshops, and we see there's so many people in these type of go-to-market tech roles that come from these different backgrounds. We just heard from some former cheerleaders. We've heard some theater majors. I myself was a dance major in college. So lots of different backgrounds. And, let's talk a little bit about that a little bit. I'm going to hear a little bit more from you. So Allison and I have done a lot of talking. So let's do one more poll. If you've ever downplayed your role as something anyone can do. And this is like my favorite, but also least favorite question, because I hate this one. Like, look at you all. Like, look what you all are doing. Like, it's so funny to me when people think anybody could have done that. Like, what we all do is so hard. Absolutely not. Like, this is the easiest one, in my opinion, to debunk. Anybody relate to that one? Okay, I opened up the poll. Okay, technology's hard. Okay, I'm going to check yes for myself. Yeah, we're definitely seeing people saying yes. Yep. Oh, some people saying no. Good. Okay, good for you. You need to come on Imposter Talk so we can learn from you. All right. Okay, so we actually want to take just a couple of minutes. I know that we're wrapping up on time a little bit. We want to make sure we have time to cover up some actionable takeaways, but we wanted to have everybody just take a minute. This is a workshop after all. Put some pen to paper and make a list, and even share in the chat if you're willing to share a little bit of some of the bullet points that you're writing down. You heard some personal stories from us, from the panelists. But really why we do this part of the workshop is because there's been studies that have been done on imposter syndrome that really help participants combat their imposter syndrome by making lists. So in a study, the participants were required to complete various homework assignments. And in one of those assignments, participants first had to recall all the people that they believed that they had fooled or tricked in the past. And then in another take-home task, individuals had to write down the positive feedback they received. And then later they'd have to recall why this feedback was received in a negative light later on. So take a couple minutes. We'll just take a few minutes. Write down people you think you fooled when they gave you positive feedback. Then think about why you perceived this feedback negatively. What do you do to combat your imposter? And then what would you do differently if your mind wasn't playing tricks on you? We heard some good tidbits, and I know Gretchen and Christy both kind of talked about this, wish they could go back and have a conversation with themselves. So let's talk a little bit about this. Give you, 3 minutes, Allison. Think that's good?
Yeah.
3 minutes. Okay.
Hey, sorry, I said Gretchen. Hey, Hannah, do you think, I don't know if we're going to be able to come off mute and share, but if anyone wants to share in the chat, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's what we should do. Yep. Everybody start putting things in a chat. We got one hack, make your imposter your partner. Oh, that's a good one. I try to not let him talk at me, but talk with me and use his criticisms and doubt as fuel to execute. Ooh, I like that. All right. Anybody else want to share a couple things? Then we'll go to some tips and tricks.
I like that. Make your imposter your partner. I wrote that down. That's a good one.
Yep. Got another one. I sometimes lean into the imposter syndrome because I find that it does mean I know more than I think. Ooh, we got a little emojis, people resonating with some people. I'm afraid I don't know. Yeah, I'm so afraid I don't know too. I was on a session earlier in one of the other DEMOFEST sessions, and one of the presenters was talking about the fear of Q&A. I feel that. That's always the scariest part of any presentation for me personally.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go on to some tips and tricks, but if you want to take a picture of this or make sure there is science behind writing it down and reframing in your brain. So take the time to do this. Okay. All right. So as we wrap up today, we are big on action here at 4 Under 3, and we want to share some top tips that we've learned actually through our workshops and just talking to different people, research, things like that. But we're going to end in one more poll. Last one, if you've received a compliment or downplayed it or explained why, oh, it's just not that big a deal. And thank you, Hannah, for doing the polls. I appreciate it. And the engagement today. Thank y'all.
It kind of feels like doing a live demo. I know everybody can't see, but there's a lot going on back here. The polls. Okay.
Great.
All right. Thanks. Oh, okay. All right. Like getting so, oh wait, people are guilty of this one. Me too. Me too. All right, let's talk about some tips. We've actually already heard a lot of them through our amazing panelists, not surprising given the caliber that we had today. But tip number 1, talk about naming those feelings. So this is a really important part of the process. It's to give those feelings a name and identify those feelings. We heard about that from some of our panelists. And this might seem really simplistic, but we feel like it really works. So just identify that what you're feeling in a moment is imposter syndrome. You can even give it a name. I didn't hear that tip today, but like we've heard people in the past say they give their imposter names like Susan or Todd. And that can do 2 things. It can separate you from the feelings that you're feeling about yourself as a person, and it allows you to take a step in the right direction towards learning what causes those feelings for you and how to work through them. And this is really important because this impacts everything from how you think about your professional careers. Like we know that research shows that men apply for jobs if they met 60% of the requirements, and women will only apply if they check every box. So things like this, where you can actually just name those feelings of this is just my imposter, I'm going to apply anyway, I'm going to apply for the role anyway, I can do this. It really helps to separate yourself out and make sure you don't lose out on opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. We've had some, like even members of our workshop, things like that, they named him Todd. And so they just don't overthink it. And they'll just say, go away, Todd, go away, Toddy. We don't need you today. So give it a name.
Okay, we got 5 minutes left, Allison. We need to give 2 more minutes to Danielle too. So we'll just go through the rest of them quickly.
Okay. Yeah. So tip number 2, get comfortable with transparency. So imposter, it can make you feel alone. The pandemic, working remote, all of these things that we're doing, we really recommend opening up to your manager or your colleague and letting them know that, hey, I'm feeling kind of scared, or like, I don't know this. Public vulnerability can help enable you to have more clarity, both as an employee or as a person. Instead of being afraid that you're alone, you can really get open, right? Just talk to other people, have one-on-one conversations. We've actually had groups that we've done this who created a Slack channel, and then they can all talk about if they're feeling their imposter that day and help each other fight it.
All right, check your language. So this is one of our favorite slides because these are just a couple of really great examples from something called Email Like a Boss. And it's really about kind of changing your intrinsic motivation and decreasing your feelings of being a fraud. So just reframing your ideas, reframing your language. Email is something that we all do quite a bit. We know we all said like, hey, this might be a dumb question, but like thinking about how to reframe things so that that can help us execute and really move past that imposter syndrome. Allison, you have a good tip for this one. We'll put it in the chat. I could do that.
Yeah. So when we started doing these workshops, there's a free Google Chrome extension called Just Not Sorry. And what it does is if you have an imposter language or some kind of fluff language in there, it'll actually underline it like red to remind you to check your language. And it's free. And I have it on all my emails, even at OnTick. And I would highly recommend it. So thanks for sharing that, Hannah.
Yep, it's in the chat. Everybody should definitely install that on their Chrome browser.
Okay. Number 4, affirmations. So I think Christy talked about this, like how she would reframe your inner monologue, how important it is and what you tell yourself. Fill it with affirmations. Talk to yourself in the mirror. I did that even before this meeting. Get comfortable with your affirmations, practice them, let them become second nature. Say them 3 times to yourself. This tip actually came from workshops that we've done because so many people share the importance of their daily affirmations, especially when you feel like an imposter. Share your own affirmations in Slack that you tell yourself if you'd like, or Slack in the chat if you'd like. But these are so important, just like Christy said, that inner monologue.
Okay, and build that network to help hold you accountable. I can't tell you how many times I text Allison and the people that are on this panel when I feel like I need to have my network kind of bring me back home. And the more people you know, the more ideas you're exposed to, the further your reach is. By having a network of folks you can rely on who also rely on you, your brain more quickly realizes that you know what you're doing. Okay. And so just look around you. You're in this chat right now. You're in this amazing conference with all these amazing professionals. Go get to know them. Go talk about this topic. It will help.
Okay, so we are at the end of our workshop. Please connect with us on LinkedIn. Please like our page. It's super important for us so you can have, engagement with us and we can continue these conversations. If you want to bring one of these Fight Your Imposter workshops to your company, visit our website. You can email us too, or you can reach out we'll put our email addresses in the chat. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you so much, everybody. This was so much fun.
Yeah, and then Hannah, if you can drop that in. And check out Imposter Talks. If you want to be a guest too, and you're like, hey, I have a story to tell, we're always getting guests. We film and we record constantly. We'd love to have you. This has been so much fun. Thank you. And Hannah, thanks for doing all of the demo in the back end. I really appreciate it.
Well, this is DEMOFEST. I had to show up and, show off my skills. So, all right, Danielle, back to you.
Thank you so much. This was amazing. I learned so much. I really appreciate it. And it's so true. I think everyone does experience imposter syndrome. So I have a bunch of great tips that I'll take away from this. So thanks again. I do want to share just a few reminders and announcements. Don't forget to stop by the virtual expo hall to visit our premier partners, those who have gone above and beyond to contribute to making this event a success for all of you. And don't forget to check out our raffle. I'm pretty sure there's a PS5 up there. Information on how to enter, as well as our live leaderboard, can be found pinned at the top of the public chat, as well as in your docs tab. And we're excited to be bringing DEMOFEST on the road again as DEMOFEST X. We had a great time in San Fran this February, and we can't wait to bring the event to New York and London. You can register to join us at DEMOFEST. You can register to join us at DEMOFEST to go to demofest.com or head to the link in your docs tab. Again, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Hannah and Allison and all the panelists for this valuable insight and knowledge. Like I said, I loved it. I hope you all did too. Up on your screen are the upcoming sessions. You'll automatically be pushed to your next session in your track, and you can switch tracks by toggling to the agenda tab at the top left of your screen. Thanks so much. We'll see you again. Enjoy your next sessions.